Hello there, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining me once again here on Talkin Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today. I'm going to start you off with a funny headline. Well, I thought it was funny when I read it. Jermell Charlo doesn't want fans to be angry if he knocks out Brian Castano early. I've been talking about this fight for a little while. It's the Jermell Charlo versus Brian Castano fight for the undisputed super welterweight world championship unification. It's going on this upcoming weekend because of the undercard, where Boots Ennis says that he will knock out Custio Clayton, a Canadian. So I've been talking about this fight for a couple of days, but I thought that headline was absolutely classic. He actually said, let me just quote the first paragraph from Jeff Arnow, our friend over at Boxing News 24. Anyway, he said, unified junior middleweight champion Jermell Charlo says he doesn't want fans mad at him if he sleeps WBO 154-pound champion Brian Castano early this Saturday, May 14th, in their rematch for the undisputed championship on Showtime. Charlo, by the way, is 34-1-1 with 18 knockouts, and Castano 17-0-2 and is undefeated with 12 knockouts. All right, anyway, on to the news of the day, courtesy of our friends at boxing247.com. Start you off with a quick little result out of Indiana, where undefeated Jermaine Franklin went toe-to-toe against Rodney Moore this past weekend at McBride Hall. That took place in Gary, Indiana. On Saturday, May 7th, heavyweight prospect Jermaine Franklin returned from a nearly 3-year layoff to score a fifth-round technical knockout over capable journeyman Rodney Moore. Fighting in the main event of a DM Fight Promotions event at McBride Hall in Gary, Indiana, Franklin, who's 21-0 with 14 knockouts, fighting out of Saginaw, Michigan, looked sharp while dismantling Houston's Moore, who's 22-2 with 9 knockouts of his own, who has previously been known to pull off the occasional upset against his laundry list of undefeated and high-profile opponents. Said Franklin, to be honest, it felt like I never left the ring. I was ready to put on a show for the fans and also show my power and speed. I gave the fans what they wanted, a knockout. Being away for 2 years, you get a chance to study not only other fighters but yourself, and I'm better than ever. So although he's happy to be back, he's really hoping to be in with another significant heavyweight within a year. He says, I want to show my skills against the top 15 fighters in the world. I'm a more powerful, faster fighter than all of them, and I'm ready to prove it. I'm 28 years old, and I want to be the people's champ, he says. I want the fans to enjoy my success. The heavyweight division is wide open. I want to fight Tyson Fury or anyone in the top 15. Fair enough. I consider my skill level better than those ranked up there, and I'm ready to prove it. Franklin's promoter, by the way, is Dimitri Salita, whose fighters we promoted last week on Knuckle Up, says that Franklin is back in action. He's planning a big year for the 6'2" fighter known as the 989 Assassin. Says Salita, Jermaine is one of the best American heavyweights in the world who is ready to break into the top contender status. This is going to be a big breakout year for Jermaine. So we look forward to hearing more from Salita Promotions and their big fighters. Alrighty, on to Parks Casino. I mentioned this before, down in Philadelphia on 13th of May. Several of Philadelphia's top young boxers, including blue chip prospects and Golden Gloves champions, will showcase their skills in the ring at Parks Casino on May 13th. The main event features undefeated Sonny Conto, who's 9-0 with 7 knockouts, the top-ranked heavyweight from South Philadelphia, and a top 25 heavyweight in the U.S. Against Justin Rolfe, 7-3-1, 5 knockouts out of Fairfield, Maine. Conto is a highly touted prospect, but still understands he has a lot to work on. He said after his last win on February 24th, there's a lot to work on, but I felt good to be in there. I won every round. The goal is to win every round decisively. I got hit a little too much, though. There's a lot to work on, a lot to improve. It's all about growing. In this fight against former USA New England champ Justin Rolfe, Conto will look to continue his career progression and improve on some of the mistakes he made in past fights. Also in that fight, Shenard Bunch, 18-1-1, 50 knockouts, the 2021 Briscoe Prospect of the Year, will face Marklin Bailey, 7-7, 4 knockouts, out of Durham, North Carolina, in a 6-round super lightweight bout. Also, we'll see featherweight Angelo Fuentes, 7-0, undefeated, 4 knockouts. Out of Coconut Creek, Florida, who will face James Early, who's 4-8 in a 6-round super featherweight bout. This will be the most experienced opponent Fuentes will face. This action-packed fight will be a great test, an important moment in Fuentes' career. Bensalem-born Jordan Murphy, who's 2-0, one knockout, will be making his third professional appearance and will face Antonio Dunton L. Jr., 2-0-1 out of Baltimore, Maryland, in a 4-round super featherweight bout also. The always entertaining Christopher Burgos, 3-5-1 out of North Philly, will face Philip Davis, 2-5-1 out of Worcester, Massachusetts, in a 6-round lightweight contest. Making his debut on the card will be 2014 Pennsylvania Golden Gloves champ Carl Wiley out of Coatesville, Pennsylvania, who will face Tyree Arnold, also out of Philadelphia, in a 4-round lightweight bout. Tickets are on sale, and congratulations to all those fighters. Look forward to seeing the results. Out of Parks Casino, as I said, they're taking they're going to the ring on 13th of May. There we go. Elsewhere, on the 13th of May, we're going to see Hannah Rankin go toe-to-toe against Alejandra Ayala. And this is a rather historic fight, as was the Katie Taylor fight. If you hear that, my phone is ringing. Apologies. Scotland's Hannah Rankin makes a historic defense of her WBA and IBO super welterweight titles against Mexico's Alejandra Ayala at the OVO Hydro on 13th of May. Hannah created her own piece of Scottish history when she became the nation's first female boxer to win a world title. She carves another unique piece of Scottish boxing history when she makes her first defense of her world title in Scotland's top arena. Hannah is the first female boxer to headline the OVO Hydro, and this is a landmark moment for female boxing in Scotland. Fantastic. We've had Hannah on the show, specifically Knuckle Up, and you can certainly go to talkinfight.com, Google, search her name, and in the search engine, and her interview will come up. The undercard features a host of top Scottish talent ready to shine on the big stage. Chief support is a Commonwealth title contest as Scotland's Nathaniel Collins, who's 10-0, defends his title against Jacob Robinson, who's 9-0 from Wales. It serves as a classic someone's O must go, as both men put their undefeated records on the line. So there's there's definitely some other fighters on that bout, but I don't have their names. I'm only seeing the Fight Zone promo card here. But the OVO Hydro, just Google it. Glasgow, as I said, May 13th, headlined by Hannah Rankin in her fight against Alejandra Ayala. That's going to be a great fight. Looking forward to that result. Okay, moving along. A week after that, taking place in Managua, Nicaragua, a city that I've been to and had a lot of fun in. Since losing a decision to undefeated Hector Valdez in July of 2020, UBO's champion Joshua Morales, who's 23-12 and 4 with 7 knockouts, has picked up one title after another while winning 12 out of 12 bouts. Alzerdo de Aro, the Golden Southpaw, currently holds a UBO International and Latino super flyweight titles, and in his most recent outing on March 24th, he captured the WBC regional title at flyweight in Mexico, decisioning local man Adolfo Salvador Rodriguez. On May 21st, on May 21st, he'll be moving down another division to take on another Mexican, former WBO world title challenger Gerardo Verde Moreno, who's 19-7-1 with 14 knockouts for the vacant UBO International Light Flyweight title, as I said, in Managua, Nicaragua. If victorious, Morales from Houston, Texas, could be fighting for the UBO World Light Flyweight title in his very next bout. So, a lot more than another belt for his collection will be on the line. It's good to hear from our friends down at Nika Boxing Promotions, and we'll look forward to that result as well. Taking a quick look around the world, we see the World Boxing Council have named the opponents. Pro Bellum stars Oshaki Foster and Noel Gever must face next to keep on track for their respective world title shots. Super featherweight Styles Foster is the #1 contender in the WBC rankings, and he's been ordered to face Mexico's Eduardo Ramirez, #3, next. The winner of that fight will be in line to face champion Shakur Stevenson, who won the WBC belt by defeating Oscar Valdez in Las Vegas last month. Cruiserweight puncher Givor, meanwhile, has been matched with South Africa's Thabiso Machuno, with the prize being a shot at champion Ilagunga Magubo. Givor, who's 26-2 with 11 knockouts, WBC silver champion who fights out of Germany, is #2 in the sanctioning body's ratings, while Machuno, who lost to world champion Makubo in January, is #3. The former world title challenger, by the way, strengthened his position with the WBC by defeating contender Yuri Kalenga in February. The ordered fights were announced by the WBC president Mauricio Salomon on Tuesday. So look forward to seeing those guys go at it and the results. Elsewhere, we see that David Morrell Jr. is seeking a fight with David Benavidez. This is everyone in that division. Undefeated WBA super middleweight champ David Morrell Jr., who's 6-0 with 5 knockouts, is ready to let the world know he wants the best fights possible, as soon as possible. Morrell Jr., from his training camp in Houston, Texas, with coach Ronnie Shields, says a fight with David Benavidez is what he seeks most. He said, "I look at someone like David Benavidez, who claims to be avoided, but you never hear him mention my name," says Morrell Jr., who has knocked out 5 of his 6 opponents in the pro ranks. He speaks as though he's the boogeyman of the division. "Well, fight me and let's find out. He's chasing a fight with Canelo, but I know I'll give him a beatdown he'll never forget." Right on. After a monumental amateur career where he compiled an astonishing record of 130 wins, only 2 losses, Morrell Jr., an international star from Cuba, has looked indestructible in his first 6 fights as a professional. He's been on fast track to a world title and captured the WBA super middleweight world title in only his 5th fight as a pro. Good stuff to hear. One last quote. "I've seen every style you can possibly think of in the amateur, so I know how to beat a guy like Benavidez, who likes to come forward and bang. David Benavidez is a great puncher with a lot of heart, and he's a warrior. I'll give him that, but he doesn't have the skills that I possess. I'll fight David Benavidez anytime, anywhere, but he will fight me." That's a question the fans want to know, myself included. But will he fight me? Now the world knows who I want most. Let's see who the real boogeyman is. Come to Papa David. Boo. Fair enough. Thank you very much for joining me here on Talk and Fight for another episode of Boxing News today. Hope you enjoyed it as I did. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you at 4 p.m. with Mike Court 4 and Cedric Ben, who's in the den, and on the Knuckle Up Show.